everybody to day 9 of the Intermittent Fasting Raw Food Challenge. Congratulations, we are almost done. Just a few more days and you will have accomplished something that very few people in this world are able to accomplish. You know, thinking about just water-only fasting, there's a minute amount of people in the world. It's almost like climbing Mount Everest. You know, you should have a plaque on your wall of just this huge accomplishment like running an Ironman or doing a marathon. I mean, it seems simple, but it's really a mental challenge and it's a physical challenge. And even starting slow with intermittent fasting is still a great accomplishment. I mean, even if it's from 11 to 7, I mean, later on you can change it from 12 to 6. And listen, I had somebody ask me a question, you know, they made a mistake, they wanted to start over, they ate a cooked meal. It's no big deal. You don't have to start all the way over again. I mean, you know, the purpose of this is more or less for you to start learning new behaviors. You know, I know people that do intermittent fasting and every Sunday they just take a day off. Just because you're doing something doesn't mean you have to actually do it all the time, because then you're going to feel guilty and stressed out, and that's what you want to avoid doing. But the more that you accomplish in your life when it comes to health, the better off you're going to be. And that's why you just take it minute by minute, day by day. I mean, in all honesty, we don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow. So just setting short-term goals and waking up in the morning and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to do this today. And hopefully I'll make it through the day. And then set some goals for the following day. And, you know, before you know it, 4 or 5 days are going to go by, or a week's going to go by, and you're going to be feeling better, and you're going to be changing your habits. And, you know, every now and then you're going to slip up and you're going to go back to doing the old things, or you're going to go to a birthday party, or you're going to go to a wedding, or you're going to go some function, and you're not going to have anything there. So, I mean, the whole point I'm trying to make is, if you did mess up and you ate a cooked meal, don't worry about it. It's not worth stressing over. Just get back on track and do what you need to do. I mean, that's just the society in which we live. There is no reason why anybody should be hungry on this intermittent fasting raw food challenge. Absolutely no reason. You can pretty much eat whatever you want between 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Any type of raw foods, fruits, nuts, seeds. I mean, don't eat only nuts and seeds, okay? Because you're going to be increasing your fat content, and that's, you know, for the people that are trying to lose weight. Although they're good fats, that is correct, and they're full of good nutrients. You want to kind of spread out your food choices as much as you possibly can. You know, balance them out. I know that sometimes I'll avoid eating pumpkin seeds during the day because pumpkin seeds contain more L-tryptophan than turkey does. And that's why people get really sleepy on Thanksgiving, because they eat turkey and it has L-tryptophan, so it makes you tired and it makes you want to go to sleep. And pumpkin seeds actually have more tryptophan than turkey does. So if you're going to eat pumpkin seeds, make sure you eat them later on in the evening. I keep getting asked questions about raw food, salad dressings, and I have a lady that just prepares them, and just different types of lemon juice, let's say, with coconut oil or avocado oil, different herbs mixed in there, fresh herbs like basil, thyme, and lemon juice, stuff like that. She just usually goes online and pulls up what are some good raw food salad dressings. So there's not really one that I would recommend. Those don't have any sugar or carbohydrates in them, and yes, a lot of them do. So even if you can't find a completely raw, or you don't want to make your own raw than, maybe just some straight olive oil or avocado oil and some raw organic apple cider vinegar. That's another thing that we usually mix in there. That was one of the questions. Another question is someone is asking my opinion on metal toxicity, mercury exposure. That is a huge, huge, huge situation that we're dealing with right now. Mercury exposure from amalgams in the teeth and from toys coming from China and many other things. Then you have aluminum toxicity is one of the things that's on my radar because aluminum is in everything, and deodorants and cosmetics and foods, and aluminum foil that gets in your food when you're cooking it. Aluminum utensils. Aluminum they're finding high levels of aluminum nanoparticles in the air. And if you haven't gone and checked out chemtrails, I would highly recommend you look into chemtrails. They are real. There's government documents. It's not a conspiracy theory. I've done the research. A lot of these things that are labeled conspiracy theories are actually the truth. It's just the mainstream media and, the very popular newspapers out there are not telling the truth. Because when you follow the money back, you'll see that those are funded by links to pharmaceutical companies. They're funded by links to big agriculture business, Monsanto. And, if you just take the time and just never believe what you see and what you hear all the time, okay? I spent 20 years looking into and researching some of these, what the mainstream media calls extreme crazy conspiracy theories. And when you actually spend weeks or months doing the research yourself, then you find out that these aren't conspiracy theories. These are real. Like fluoride was put in the water on purpose to dumb us down. It was used in Germany in the early 1900s and used in Russia in the concentration camps. And it was used to make people non-aggressive, make people easily controllable. I mean, this is all public knowledge if you know where to look. Why do you think they put it in the water supply all over the place? So it dumbs people down. It causes health problems. And the chemtrails is another scenario that's ruining the soil. I've talked to farmers, I've talked to agricultural that are having serious pH issues in their soil and serious levels of aluminum building up in their soil. There's been people that have been testing the air, and it contains strontium, barium, aluminum nanoparticles. The government, you can bring up the government documents where they're allowing billions of tons to be sprayed under climate control. It's called geoengineering. If you just type in geoengineering chemtrails and you'll see what I'm talking about. But the reason why I'm saying that is it's important because you have to address the root cause of all health problems. And when you're looking at metal toxicity, sure, you can do some chelation, you can do some, take some different types of compounds, do some detoxification, but where are they coming from? Is there any possible way you can eliminate them from coming in your body? And I highly recommend anybody that has mercury amalgams in their mouth, find a biological dentist. Just type in biological dentist near your town and go get your amalgams removed and taken out. That's very important. I know it's expensive, but it is expensive to be healthy these days. I mean, it's just the way it goes. We are changing. Things are getting better. Things are improving. Things are getting cheaper. More doctors are getting into natural medicine. More dentists are getting away from the fluoride and the toxic mercury. We are making huge progress, which is a great, great thing, thanks to everybody. And all we need is to continue this revolution, this healthcare revolution. But we are under attack by metals, and And that's something that we need to address. And that's why I developed Zeotrex. And that's why I recommend everybody goes through a chemical and heavy metal cleanse once or maybe twice a year, but really looking at what is causing all the heavy metals to come in, looking at your environment, your work environment, finding out if you're exposed to any metals, cleaning up the air quality in your house, cleaning up the water quality in your house. Should root canals be removed? Should teeth be removed? That's a tough question to answer. I've spoken with a lot of biological dentists. I have a really good biological dentist. There's a couple of them here in Houston. And they still recommend taking the teeth out completely because what they're using for root canals is toxic. However, the good news is there is a lot of research going on in Europe of possibly being able to regrow your teeth. And I am looking forward to that because I have a long history of gum disease in my family. And even though I eat healthy, I just, for some reason, don't take care of my teeth as much as I should. I have been working with a clinic in Thailand doing some stem cell research. They're working on some things for the teeth. So I think within 5 years, if you lose a tooth, I'm hoping you'll be able to inject some cells up into that pocket, and you should be able to hopefully regrow a tooth, or they can regrow one and put it in there for you. Lane Smith says, what would you replace fillings with? So there's a test that the biological dentist can do on you. They'll take your blood and they'll run a scan to see what compounds are not going to cause any type of energy deprivation from your body. I had that done. I mean, I can't remember how much it is. Maybe a couple $100 or something like that. And then my dentist, if I ever need a cavity or anything like that, they know what compound to make it out of. And there's probably 100 different compounds out there, like zirconium, different types of ceramic, different types of mixes that you can mix together that are non-toxic. So the key is getting with a good biological dentist. And people fly all over the world here to Houston to see these biological dentists. So, I mean, if anyone's interested in that information, just put a reminder up there and I'll make sure that I put that in the comments. Next question. When I took a probiotic, I threw up. What's wrong with that? Makes me afraid of probiotics. There's no telling why you threw up after taking a probiotic. But listen, there's a lot of companies out there that are just throwing probiotics in formulas. And when they do that, they're not aware and doing the time and effort and the research to see how those probiotics are going to work inside your system and how effectively those probiotics are going to work inside your system. And a lot of the probiotics, believe it or not, when we were looking at finding and developing a really high-end probiotic formula, and you can pull the patents up yourself. Just look at in Google on stabilizing probiotics or heat stable probiotics, and you pull the patents up. I was shocked to see that 90% of the probiotics out there are sprayed with 4 cancer-causing chemicals, because probiotics are sensitive to heat, they're sensitive to moisture, and they're sensitive to pH levels, acid and alkaline based. So what these companies are doing is they're culturing the probiotics and then they're spraying them with toxic chemicals 4 times to make them heat stable, to make them resistant to water and pH stable, et cetera, et cetera. And then they're giving those to you. So probably you had, I don't know what brand of probiotics they were, but you probably had a reaction to those chemicals, not the actual probiotics, but the chemicals and the byproducts that are in there. Who are the 2 biological dentists in Houston? One of them is Dr. Teresa Scott, DDS, she's in the Woodlands, and the other one is Dr. Bill Glaros, Glaros. Next question, is it good to fast? This is from Chris Hoffman. Thanks, Chris, for chiming in. Is it good to fast when doing a yeast and harmful organism cleanse? Also, should I take any of my vitamins? It's always good to do a low-calorie either intermittent fasting or water-only fasting when you're doing a cleanse. It can only benefit you. So yes, that would be a good idea. There's no bad time ever to do a cleanse, okay? Because the amount of stuff that we're taking in every single day, if you look at the 100,000 chemicals and toxins we breathe in every day, if you look at the 100,000 chemicals and toxins we eat every day, we drink every day, that we're exposed to on our skin every day, I mean, it just adds up and up and up and up. And then all the food which shuts down the digestive tract, and our energy levels are so low, we don't have enough energy to heal the body. So, next question, what water filtration system do I use? That is a great question. I'm about to post an interview with a scientist. His name is Winston Gao, but his last name is spelled K-A-O. If you're interested in his water purification whole house system, I've spent months looking. About every few years, you have to go back and start from scratch because so much is changing. Sometimes, just in the herbal field, you have to constantly, like every couple months, things change in our industry. So with the water purification, technology is getting better and better and better. Even in Germany right now, they have this new pool system that creates hydrogen peroxide. I'm probably going to be doing an article on that where you can convert your pool from chlorine to a hydrogen peroxide system, where it's actually you're bathing and you're swimming in pure oxygen water, which is going to be amazing. So, but the water purification system I have is custom designed for my home, and you can go to, well, I know one of his websites is gobeyondorganic.com, and you can I think he has a link to his water site on there as well. But he's got one of the highest tech water structuring units that I've ever seen. And actually, you put a magnesium rod down into the ground and you hook it up to it so it gets the 300 millivolts from the earth. So it gets the voltage from the earth while the water is being vortexed and going through this conditioning device. So you get that structured, high-end, healthy water for your whole house. Now, there are many different options like hydrogen water under your sink or stuff like that, but it just depends really on your budget of what you can afford. So that is my thoughts on that. How do you go about doing an eye detox? Well, whenever I used to see patients, and I used to have people coming in with pink eye or any type of eye disorder, what I would do would take a shot glass, fill it up with distilled water, put 1 drop of iodine, the detoxidine in there, stir it up a little bit, and then just use that to rinse in my eye. And I've done that with my children's eyes as well. Also, you can fill a shot glass up with distilled water. You don't want to add the iodine to the silver because iodine and silver will create a reaction. So what you can do is you can do colloidal silver. You can do it straight if it's 10, 15, 20, 50, 60 parts per million. Or you can dilute it in some distilled water and use that to flush your eye out. You can do that, and then a few hours later do the iodine in the water, then a few hours later do the silver, and then a few hours later do the iodine in the water again. That's pretty much the only thing I've ever used for detoxifying the eye. That seems to work extremely, extremely good. And as a matter, just on the topic of metals, this is popping back up into my head. Brownstein and some research, either he published or somebody published, said that iodine at 20,000 micrograms per day dosing showed fluoride, bromine, chlorine, and mercury in the urine. Now, what does that mean? That means that iodine can actually bond and detoxify fluoride, chlorine, bromine, and mercury from the body. because they were doing testing, urine testing on it, and they found those compounds coming out in your urine after after taking 20,000 micrograms of iodine. Now, the RDA of iodine is only 150 micrograms, so that would seem crazy, but you have to remember the RDA is wrong on everything, folks. I mean, the RDA is the minimum that you can take to maintain not having a deficiency. So, can a person be allergic to iodine if your neck swells? Tana, thanks for asking that question. You know, there's a difference. We've never had anybody have any allergic reaction to nascent iodine, but there are people that have reactions and are allergic to iodine in foods, especially shellfish, but it's not the same kind of iodine. So we always recommend maybe putting a little tiny dot on your arm or something like that, or under your arm, and seeing if you have any type of reaction. We've had people that have been allergic to shellfish, severe allergies to shellfish, that have been on our detoxidine, our detoxified iodine, our I1 formula, and had zero symptoms, zero allergies. As a matter of fact, they ended up getting better, because if your doctor told you you're allergic to iodine, most likely you're extremely deficient in iodine and you actually need iodine, and then you're going to end up with thyroid problems and all the other stuff. So anyway, that's my update for today. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.